Hello guys, you're watching Philosophy Online. Welcome to the Introduction to Philosophy full course. This course is being taught at graduate and undergraduate levels. And throughout this course, we'll discuss different chapters that will explain what is philosophy and that make us able to better understand what is philosophy. So let's begin from the chapter number 1, which is what is philosophy. Chapter number 1 is comprised of 5 further topics. Number 1 is nature of philosophy. Number 2 is scope of philosophy. Number 3 is historical periods of philosophy. Number 4 is methods of philosophy. And at last, we'll discuss the significance of philosophy on number 5. Our today's video is all about the topic number 1 of chapter number 1, which is the nature of philosophy. To talk about nature of philosophy, we talk about the very basic concerns of philosophy. We'll see that what basic concerns of philosophy are that it deals with. So the nature of philosophy is, we can further explain it with further 3 topics. Number 1 is definition of philosophy. Number 2 is origin of philosophy. Number 3 is literal meaning of philosophy. So we can divide the nature of philosophy into these 3 further topics. So let's begin from the definition of philosophy. We cannot define philosophy into the one single phrase. That means to say, defining philosophy is not that easy as other subjects are. We cannot define philosophy into the one single phrase. For example, botany is a study of plants, or zoology is a study of animals, or physics is the study of matter and energy, and so on. So, this can't be done with philosophy. What is the reason behind that? Why can't we define philosophy into the single phrase like other subjects can be defined? The answer is that philosophy doesn't deal with one part of nature, universe, or world as other subjects are. For example, botany is dealing with just with plants, or zoology is dealing just with animals, and of course, physics deals with matter and energy. So these are the one or different parts of universe or nature or world. But so far philosophy is concerned, it doesn't deal with only one part. So on the first account, we can say that philosophy is the comprehensive subject. Comprehensive subject, what does it mean? It does mean that it deals with universe as a whole, and whatever topic or whatever question comes in our mind relating to universe, man, or man's purpose or world or nature, that all is the subject matter of philosophy. Philosophy deals or put forward question about reality, man, its man's purpose, society, polity, education, economics, arts, laws, policies, and so on. So these all are the topic concern for the philosophy. So that's why we can say that philosophy is a comprehensive subject, and it deals with universe as a whole, and it discusses almost all the topics relating to universe, nature, world, or man. Immanuel Kant says that philosophy is the mother of all sciences, and Herbert Spencer says philosophy is the universally systematic study, whereas natural sciences are partially systematic study. So this is what we first this is what we can say on the first about defining philosophy. No, so now I'm going to discuss the origin of philosophy, and at the end we'll make a linkage between the definition of philosophy and the origination of philosophy. So it's very important here to understand or to know how philosophy comes into existence. Philosophy begins by the water philosophy of Thales. Thales was born in 624 before Christ and died at 550 before Christ. Thales was the first person who brought philosophy into existence. Through his water philosophy, he is known as the father of philosophy, and he was the first philosopher on earth. He was the first person who observed universe as a whole and tried to investigate one single element behind its formation. He put forward a question, what are all things? His answer was, all things are water. The principle of all things is water, that all comes from water and to water all returns. So why I'm talking about Thales' water philosophy here? The reason is that uh, this was the first theory, or you can say the first question of philosophy. So philosophy began from the question of explaining universe. So the question regarding the explanation of universe is the first question of philosophy, right? So that's why we say that the philosophy begins by the water philosophy of Thales, and of course the explanation of reality or universe was the very first concern of philosophy. So what was before the beginning of philosophy? Here the question emerges in our mind that did philosophy emerge all of a sudden in the history of man, or Thales was the man who all of a sudden got this question in his mind that what are all things? So that's not true actually. Before Thales era, there was an era that is known as mythological era that you can say had a potential for the existence or emergence of philosophy. Mythological era began from 2000 before Christ until 6th century before Christ, and we can say that it was a period in human history when there was no formal religion, no formal knowledge, and no formal education prevailed. Men of those ages used to have faith in fairy tales, deities, gods, and goddesses. So we can say that mythological era was the time that nourished the potential for philosophy to begin. So let's talk some more about the characteristics of that era. People in that era were superstitious and had a superstitious explanation of world. So that's here. This point is very important to note it down. That means that we want to say that explanation of world or explanation of universe was already existing in human history, but of course that explanation was not a philosophic one as Thales gave us. That explanation was a superstitious explanation. So people used to believe in fairy tales, deities, and god and goddesses. So we can say that there were mythologies, cosmogonies, and poetic explanation of word rather than philosophic, naturalistic, or scientific one. So if we summarize this time, We can say that mythological ages were first unintentional, informal, non-scientific, non-philosophic and unnaturalistic attempt explaining word. So from here we can deduce that explaining word was the all-time passion of human being, and it was Thales, or the significance of Thales lies in that he was the first person who brought this explanation into philosophic dress. So that's important. That the he turned the tables over. He actually brought this philosophic explanation of universe into the history of man, and before him there was no such person who could do this. So we can summarize significance of what of philosophy into following points. Number one, Thales brought an end to mythologies, cosmogonies, and poetic explanation of world. Number two, this theory brought first naturalistic and philosophic explanation of world. Number three, water philosophy of Thales began a formal debate about explaining world. Number four, the beginning of philosophy was a formal beginning of knowledge, and of course, at beginning, every debate or discipline was a philosophic one and comes from philosophy. So here we can make a clear linkage between the origin of philosophy and the definition of philosophy, or the comprehensiveness of philosophy. As we have already claimed that philosophy is a comprehensive subject, so far it began from the question of explaining words. So that's why we can make a clear claim about the comprehensiveness of philosophy, and that philosophy is the mother of all sciences. We can further say about defining philosophy, or we can summarize this whole of defining philosophy into the following points. Number one, philosophy is a rational attempt to investigate things. Number two, philosophy through reasoning, argumentation, and concepts explains the things. That means the methodology for philosophy is reasoning, argumentation, and concepts. First of all, it is a rational attempt to investigate things. Things means everything comes, everything comes in your mind, and then it through reasoning, argumentation, and concepts explain things. Number three, we can say philosophy through reason analyzes the ultimate reality and truth, as we have already discussed in today's video, that the very first question for philosophy was the question about reality or universe, or the basic principle of universe, that it sorted out for the first that what was the basic principle and element or substance of universe. So the methodology was behind this was, of course, uh, the analysis, argumentation, and the concept. So we can say that philosophy through reason analyzes ultimate reality and truth. Next is, we can say philosophy questions everything. And obviously, this is the point throughout today's video I'm explaining, that philosophy can put forward question about everything that is relating to universe, man, and of course reality. So that it doesn't deal with the parts, it deals with the whole. So we can say that philosophy questions everything. Next we can define that philosophy tries to find out answers of questions concerned. So we can not only say that philosophy is all about questioning, but philosophy gives the answers of all those questions come in our mind. Now I have to turn over to the last point of today's lecture, which is the literal meaning of philosophy, which is a part of the explaining nature of philosophy. So, to understand the nature of philosophy, we must know the literal meaning of philosophy. The word philosophy is the combination of two Greek words, philia and sophia. And philia means love, and sophia means wisdom. So, the literal meaning of philosophy is the love of wisdom. So, here's the very beautiful terminology. I mean, philosophy does have. Um This is the literal meaning of philosophy, and that's all about the nature of philosophy. And I will summarize today's video the nature of philosophy is all about the basic concerns of philosophy. And we have explained in this whole video that basic concerns of philosophy are wide, and those must be about reality, man's purpose, ethics, virtue, good, society, politics, education, economics, arts, laws, policies, and so on. And with the help of origin of philosophy, I have tried to make it understandable that how the philosophy is how the philosophy is comprehensive subject, and how does it explain universe as a whole, and how does it relate to almost all the topics, all the questions come in our mind. So that's all about the nature of philosophy. I hope this video will help you to make a clear understanding about the nature of philosophy. uh, Thanks for watching, and subscribe the channel for more videos. Please don't forget to press the like button and stay tuned in for more videos on the topic. Bye.